Namaskar, welcome to my channel. I'm Maina Bhatnagar. The snake has always been worshipped in all the cultures worldwide. The Egyptians took them as a sign of royalty, wore them on their head. The Greeks had the Hercules go and kill mighty Draco. He even goes to the constellation of Hydra to defeat another multi-headed demon, that is a snake. In biblical reference, we know that it was a snake that throws a man out of God's kingdom. In Hinduism, the snake has a very high spot. The deities like Shiva have given him a space in his neck. Lord Vishnu sleeps on the Anant Sesha in the cosmic ocean. Lord Ganesh wears him on his stomach. We also regard snake as the keeper of all the underground wealth. Snake is revered and feared in the same breath. In astrology also, Rahu Ketu, that is a snake, is always a power, always the most important part to read. The Western astrology looks at it or reads them as moon's nodes, north and south, or the dragon's tail or the head. In modern times, we believe that we are going through the Aquarius age in which the Rahu is very dominant. Rahu is also the only strongest karak of plastic and glass. He is everywhere. Can you think of something that is of new times and part of every life that is not made of plastic or glass? We have these buildings coming up with glass and glass and glass. We have the plastic, right, starting from our wallets, purses, to the TV, to the cinema, to the software. All the writing, the coding that happens with software is all Ketu along with Mercury. The politics of the modern world is all Rahu. In fact, Rahu also represents the foreign culture. His influence on the related house can tell where the foreign influence is falling. In fact, anything that is of foreign culture is Rahu, and we are very much in grip of it. Today we like fusion food, we like things that are modern, we want to think out of the box. Creativity is also today out of the box, something which is very different, non-traditional. Changing of sexuality is also a very strong Rahu impact. Ketu is the tail, the follower, the monk, the spiritual, the detachment. In fact, Ketu rules, they both rule 3 constellations each, and Ketu rules Ashwini, Magha and Mool, and out of these 3, Mool is the most difficult constellation to be born under, because this constellation speaks of the roots and the spiritual root. People born under this constellation often live in the want of money, a good material life. It's a struggle. It's mostly a struggle. Ketu's combination with the ascendant lord in the 12th can be seen in many great spiritual leaders. So Rahu is the head, which is desires, wants, obsessive love for materialism. And Ketu, the tail, doesn't have a head, he has no imagination, so he will follow. That is why Ketu is also very religious, he just follows, and Rahu is non-religious. Ketu is spirituality, moksha, detachment, because he is opposite. So they both are opposite. They bring in a strange balance and a counterbalance in the natal chart. Their impact and conjunction with sun and moon means a lot in the natal chart. The reason is that the sun is the represents the Atma, the soul, the conscience, the truth, the Father. And when he is conjunct with these two, or either of them, he does not let the native live a life of truth and conscience. The native finds it very, very hard, unless other planets help him evolve. The combination of moon with either of these planets can create fears, phobias, mental disturbances, and afflictions to the mother. So when they take over the luminaries, they take over the very important part of us. They are shadow planets, and they are the only ones who can cause eclipse. Why are these two planets only able to cause eclipse? We'll know as we go along. So in the natal chart, they are always there, and they form an 180-degree axis. So they take two houses by placement. They have three aspects, the 5th, 7th and 9th. The 7th is looking at each other, which can be discounted. But the 4 aspect in 2 position means the 6th position. So out of 12 houses, 6 houses are in their grasp. Moreover, since they are shadow planets, they don't own any house. They always take over the houses of the owner or the sign lord. So again, they can take 2 or 4 houses. So that shows that at any given time, they can have a control of 8, 10 houses. And sometime if other planets come under their control, they can actually take over the 12 houses. I'm not referring here to the Kalpurush chart as yet. So that is one of the reasons that when the Dasha of Rahu is running and the Antardasha of Ketu comes, or vice versa, or in the Antardasha of Rahu, Pratyanta of Ketu or vice versa comes, the native does not deal with 1, 2, 3 problems. He is faced with multitude of problems. Because as I said, they could have taken over 10 houses of the natal chart. So you can imagine that out of 12 houses, important situations in your life, 10 of them are burning, needing attention, saying, look at me, there is a problem here, there's a problem here, there's a problem. So this is why the native gets thrown out of gear. And there is confusion, uncertainty, unpredictable situations, and the person finds it difficult to control. This often happens only in Rahu and Ketu Dasha. Because out of the 12 boxes, almost 8 or 10 are alive, asking for attention. So the question is that why these 2 shadow planets, who are not even main planets, launch a torpedo in a native's life and are so powerful? I believe that to understand astrology, one must read those Purans, the legends and mythology, because they are the ones who give the best answer, and actually the answers are hidden over there. So this is the story of churning of the ocean, which all of us know, the Amrit Manthan. The churning of the cosmic ocean was done by Lord Vishnu. He is the one who initiates it. And the reason is because Goddess Lakshmi was taken over by a demon who takes her down, deep down in the deeper realms of the universe. And with the Lakshmi gone, the world has lost its glory, its shine, its grace. There is no life. There is life, but there is no life in the life. So Vishnu realizes to restore this, he has to bring her out of the ocean. So how to bring her out of the ocean? The Deva is not strong enough to do everything by themselves. So he talks to the Asuras. He's mastermind in this, to use the Sur and Asur, the perfect balance. The Sura are immortal, and the Asur are the one who keep dying and birthing again and again. So they are the one who are always craving to become immortal. So Lord Vishnu tells them that if you churn the ocean with us, there will be nectar, and you can have the nectar and live forever. That's your take, that's your share that comes up. You will also get a share of it. We are already immortal. It's you, it will come out for you, it's your benefit. So the Asur agree, and the churning of ocean takes place. And as we know the story, that the Vishnu takes the form of Mohini and starts distributing the nectar. So there was this celestial demon whose name was Swarbhanu. He was extra sharp, smart, and had an excellent foresight. He was a great devotee of Brahma, and he had always prayed to become immortal. So he also joins the queue. But he, as I said, he had a great foresight and was very perceptive. He immediately realizes that some cheating is happening, and he quickly shapeshifts himself into a god and gets in the queue with the devas and consumes the nectar that was given to him. Sun and moon witness this thing. They point this to Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu quickly severs the head. By that time, Swarbhanu had become immortal. So his body is split into two. There is a head and the remaining is the body. As predictable, chaos happens and there's a massive fight. The devas and rishis intervene. The rishis finally tell Rahu Ketu that we will give you a place of planets, and they name them Rahu and Ketu. So the fight, the quarrel, the enmity of Rahu Ketu and sun and moon is eternal and still persist in the natal chart. And that's the reason they eclipse the sun and moon in the natal chart and cause what I just spoke about a bit earlier. The churning of the ocean was a gigantic task. And as I said, that Lord Vishnu couldn't just do it with the help of devas, they called the Asur as well. When the churning took place or was decided, Vasuki, the mighty snake, offers his services to become the rope, and Mandara Parvat is the one, he wraps his tail around and the churning takes place. The tail is towards the Devatas and the head of the snake goes towards the Asuras. Of course, with the churning, the first thing that comes out is poison, the halahal, which Mahadev takes to save the universe. And then follows Lakshmi, other gifts of the ocean, and then the nectar. Now this churning of the ocean is very symbolic to everyday churning that a native goes. The only thing that he goes through this churning of ocean of life when this dasha and the mahadasha or the antardasha takes place. Till then they are silent, only giving the impact, or if they are conjunct with the planet. But when the man is like the Mandar Parvat, in between the head and tail of the Vasuki, in the myths, in the legend, and in the real life, in the Rahu Ketu axis, the real churning happens. Now this is a manthan. This churning, this analysis, this chaos is not just symbolic from the Puranic story. This actually starts happening in a person's life. And as I said earlier, that the planets can even take up 6 to 8 houses. So much more starts happening, along with the interesting nature of Rahu, which is the extreme material desire, the need to succeed, the need to get everything that he wants, is ambitious. And the counterbalance, the opposition to the desire, the Ketu, which says, I don't want anything. Rahu says, I want everything. And Ketu says, I don't want anything. So between want and no want, and have and no have, this churning is happening. A lot is learned during this time. In fact, the native can only, after years of going through this dasha, turn back and say that yes, it was a chaos. But that chaos brought the best. Of course, when the dasha starts, especially when the antar of Rahu or Ketu, either one of them is happening between both of them, that's like the crux of the events happen. I have found this is always a very difficult time. Symbolically, something else is also happening. The Sur and Asur are even today there. We have good men who protect this earth, talk about environment, climate, people, food, care, health, well-being. Then there are people who go and bomb others, kill others, cause famine, cause disease, kill innocent people. They are the Asur. We still have Sur and Asur war going on even today. And as of today again we are witnessing Sur and Asur war. The Rahu is the snake head and Ketu is the tail. This is happening in our body too. With the millions of years of evolution of human body that came from water to the reptile, to the animal, to the walking, the head is still the head, like a snake's head, and the spine is still the tail. The reptilian nature in us is still there. That is the core subconscious in us, deep down. The reactions which we have no control, the deep down subconscious thinking that was layered in us at the time of origin. That wakens up and falls in the axis and causes the churning. So the question is whether the native will be able to surpass it, surmount it, or will fall. Will he rise above the occasion or will he fall under the water? Will he survive this or make the best out of it? A lot depends on the planet, on what energy are they acting on the higher plane or on the lower plane. Is a Rahu is a planet with, if he is with a yoga karak, he can be a yoga karak. But though the positions of 3rd, 6th and 11th houses are the best position, the counterbalance is happening in the opposite house. So say like if Ketu is in 3rd in a good position, the Rahu is in the 9th, disturbing the mind, the religious part of us. If Ketu is in the 3rd house of communication, or if Rahu is in the 6th winning over the enemies, the 12th house Ketu is also talking about let's leave everything. So the conflict will continue because they are born of lies, deception, conflict, confusion, and that's what they will give. With my experience, I have found that if Rahu is with the ascendant, in the ascendant, that is the 1st house, that becomes the most difficult dasha. Because that's where the planet is with the ascendant Lord in the ascendant, which is the self. So in that case, you are no more the observer. You cannot afford to be the observer. You become the observed total. You fall in the wheel and go with the road. You can't be on top of the wheel or stay away from it and detach yourself. But that is what we need to do. If you are in this dasha, it's very important to detach, not run after this, because that is extreme Maya. If you are in Rahu, you are in extreme Maya, the desire to want everything, have everything. The planetary position of Rahu in 11th house is amazing. The person gets everything. There are multitude forms of income and many sources of income, and there's luck and there's great friendship. But then the Ketu also talks about detachment. Rahu in 11th house is a great position, but the person is never satisfied, because that's what happens. When you get more, you want more. When a dominant planet like Ketu will dictate life, You might end up detaching yourself from something which needs attention. So, how to find that balance? The best way to deal with this dasha, antardasha, or if you are going through this, is to pray to Goddess Saraswati. Because Rahu is confusion, deception, lies, politics, intrigue. He clouds the thinking. Whereas Goddess Saraswati is the goddess of wisdom, clarity, thinking. She will help you see through it and see through the clouds of Rahu. Many texts say that one should pray to Goddess Durga also. In case of Ketu, Lord Ganesha is the best. He is the one who will save, because he is the wisest primordial sun, the wisest and the most sensible, and he is the one who breaks all the barriers for us, breaks all the obstacles for us. So, praying, meditation, trying to seek clarity, and learning to detach where too much attachment is happening, and learning to attach if we are losing something that is more important than money is important. I personally believe that if you understand a problem, you have found the half solution to it. So if you are in this dasha, pray, meditate, and learn to become the observer than being observed. These are mighty planets, and there are books and books about him. There's a literature about it. This can't be just put in a small video. Yet I try to share what all I learn. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe my channel. And if you want to read about it, please visit my website, mainabhatnagar.com. Thanks again.